Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Sorry for the delay. We're going to be working on the tutorial today. I started working on this last night and I think it's almost done. I just want to do a bunch of stuff to play around with it and improve it, maybe add some more to it. I don't know. We're going to see. We're just going to be doing a bunch of experimentation today and seeing how it's going. I do have some ideas for the tutorial, so yeah, we'll give it a shot. I'll show you what the current state is and what I'm thinking about doing, and then we will see how badly that fails or how goodly that goes. Anyway, before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. Check it out on Steam if you're interested in dark fantasy roguelite auto battlers. You can also support the game on Patreon if you subscribe at the top tier. For at least 1 month, I will send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So yeah, definitely check that out. You can also become a YouTube member, check out my Udemy courses. All the ways you could support are linked below. You can also join the Discord, that's linked below as well. Anyway, let's say hello to everybody. If I could get this working, here we go. Hello, Click Your Tail, welcome. Hello, Courier Games, good to see you. Emerson, welcome back. Hello, V. Tutorial indeed. Tutorial time. Hello, Monkey Software. How to use Discord? I always feel so overwhelmed by the amount of channels and servers. Me too. You and me both. If I'm being completely honest, Discord does not feel that great to me to use because it's just like there's just information everywhere. But it is nice to have everyone in the community for sure. Trying to keep the Fire Relay Discord server manageable. I'm being relatively resistant to adding new channels and whatnot, but yeah, I think it could be overdone pretty easily. I ignore a lot of stuff. Yeah, one of the things that can help too is just muting everything that you're not interested in. I use mutes quite liberally on Discord, because then any notification I get is basically guaranteed to be only something that I care about, right? So muting is really good. Yeah, I mean, I guess at some point it's like, why even be in a server if you're just going to mute the whole server, which I've done several times. So I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mainly just stay in servers I'm interested in. Yeah. Need a name for your community, newts? Well, that's the funny thing, is that there are firebelly toads and there are also firebelly salamanders. So maybe a salamander. Hello, GD Crazy, welcome. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just a weird thing about like asynchronous chat, where everyone is expected to have like 12 different conversations in the same channel. I guess threads are supposed to solve that. Forums are kind of going to solve that as well, but it's just, honestly, it's just not a great format, just generally speaking, the Discord server format, but nobody has any better ideas, so. All right, let's run the game here. Hello, fellows. We're snail cats, yeah. Hello, fellow salamanders. So here's the new tutorial. So the goals with the updated tutorial is to make it so that way more things can be explained, but also to more specifically draw your attention to things, and also prevent like interactivity while a tutorial is being shown. So like this is just your goal, right? Like you want to gather power to challenge the Inquisition. Okay. And then it says, okay, defeating the Inquisition forces in combat. So it highlights this little thing. So it darkens the rest of the screen, but then highlights this one, right? And you click continue, and then it lets you go off and do your own thing, right? But you enter combat, and it does your thing. Oh, this is your inventory. You can store items here for later use. This is your combat board. Items on your combat board will execute their abilities during combat. When your combat board is ready, click this button to start combat. So now I can just, as a player, go on and put things in my combat board. Go ahead. And then this comes up. Defeating Inquisition forces will reward you with new items and blood. Continue. So choose one. Of course, I'm going to choose the chisel. So yeah, this is the new tutorial. Again, it's designed to be a little bit more helpful. Calling things out more specifically, like what you need to do. And you can put things in here. Okay, so anyway, that's the current tutorial state. I think it's a little bit nicer. I think it's a little bit more player friendly. And I'm going to add more tutorial states too. I would like for there to be more asynchronous tutorial states. Like, I think it would be nice to, if you encounter an artifact node or whatever, like maybe explaining what all the different node types do the first time you encounter them. Or maybe the first time you actually enter an event. Yeah, maybe the first time you enter an event, it can describe that. So I think, yeah, the big thing that I'm trying to do is I don't want players to bounce off of the game when they start. So I think there needs to be a little bit more tutorial explanation. The area I'm from has the most diverse population of salamanders. Oh, very nice. Salamanders are cute, they are. I used to have a firebelly salamander as a pet. I don't know what happened to it. I'm assuming it died. Hello, Boogie. How did the Gunforge release go? Learn any lessons from it? Yeah, I mean, it was good. I I published a video about it. Something, it's called like the typical how much money did my indie game make or whatever. So there's a lot of like retrospectives. There's a retrospective in there. A post-mortem, if you will. Okay, sorry, I was just looking at something on the art here. So yeah, you can check out that video if you're interested. But overall, yeah, I would say that I learned a lot. I learned a lot about marketing. I learned a lot about game design. So yeah, definitely a good learning experience for sure. Salamander, Michael Jordan. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to experiment with the tutorial is replacing the skull guy. So I've drawn this new guy up. He's much larger, which I don't know if I'm going to keep or anything, but the idea is that this is borrowing what Jack suggested in Discord, which is for this lantern to basically shine a spotlight on whatever it is that you're looking at. And I have an idea for how to do like a spotlight effect a little bit, but I think maybe that will add more visual interest because when the tutorial screen darkens, it creates a lot of just empty space, right? So filling in the space a little bit better with this guy and then having like a little spotlight effect, I think could work pretty well. But yeah, kind of like the little skull guy, he's cute. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to keep this. But like I said, we're just going to be experimenting. If I don't end up keeping this, I may just end up, you know, I could cut this guy up and do like items for it, right? So I could potentially make this one. I could potentially make this one like a card, like just a... yeah, some kind of lantern or something. Make this an item. Maybe these could all be part of a set. But anyway, this art will not go to waste, so if I don't end up using it for the tutorial, I'll use it for something else. Okay. So, what are we going to do here? So what I wanted to do is just borrow some more of the physics stuff that I've been doing, or that I was doing with the, the Paladin. Oops. I think it would be cool to have the lantern swing, like make it a physics object basically. What else? The flames, have some flames in here. But I think the thing I'm most interested in is the spotlight effect. How do I do that? How do I do that? I have an idea for how to do it, but I just need to figure that out. Okay, anyway. Let's just start with the skull. So this is all gonna go away. I actually don't know. This is going to require a bunch of work. I'm going to rename these. Not died, guide. Okay. Do I want to... Oh, do I want to double outline these things? Does it matter? I think I might want to double outline these things. Oh, but that's gonna... Maybe I won't double outline the lantern? Double outlining the hand works. Okay, let's just do that. Export layers. There we go. Looks really cool too, this big one. Animate to have a big open mouth when he talks. Yeah, I think that's the plan, is like animate these pieces. Actually, maybe I should do that. Well, I don't want to go too far overboard with it just yet. We got to do a test first. But I think the final version of this, if it ends up working out, is like the head will be kind of like eagerly going towards the point, and the arm will kind of lag a little bit behind, and it might like spring around, you know? But then these pieces will be independent pieces, so like this would rotate a little bit, like as part of an animation or whatever, right? And so would this arm. And then the lantern would be swinging about. But we're just going to do the simple thing first. I have no idea what's even going on here. I may... Do I want to just delete all of this? Okay, we're just going to delete everything. Goodbye. Rich text label. We still need that. We're going to get rid of the scale root. Rich text root. Get rid of this, get rid of that. Because we'll keep those. Actually, no, we're going to get rid of those too. Goodbye. We're stripping this down. Wander root. Text container, continue button. There's a bunch of stuff that I want to redo in here anyway, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna, let's just go scorched earth. We're just gonna get rid of basically everything, except the stuff I know I want to keep. We're just gonna rewrite this. What is this tween? Yeah, we're just gonna, we'll keep the text tween. Gonna get rid of this. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay. So let's just strip everything out. Except what we will do is we need to replace this target position. All right, so we've got pop in. We're going to rename this to play in, play out. Let's get rid of all this. We'll keep the text tween. Set text flip orientation. Okay, so set anchor. We're actually going to do this. Public void set skull target position. Probably want to do, let me think about this. Set skull target position. Yeah, and then we want to probably do public void set skull look at position. So we're going to want those. We're going to get rid of anchor. This doesn't make any sense anymore. Actually, set anchor. All this stuff goes away. All of this code was designed to handle whether the skull was in world space or like screen space. And so it had to do a bunch of logic to determine that, but that's not necessary anymore. So we get rid of that. We don't have steer anymore. Okay, so set skull look at position, set skull target position, public void set text target position. Okay, so vector2 target position, rich text root dot position is equal to target position. Okay, get rid of set anchor, set look at anchor, flip text orientation. That's okay. Restore text orientation. Text default position. Now, why in the world do I have this text default position? We're going to get rid of that as well. So we're basically, what we're doing essentially is we are actually separating the skull position from the text position. Previously, those things were related to each other. But now I'm going to independently control both of those things. So I can have the skull like looking at one thing and like orbiting something, but then I can move the text out of the way like somewhere else. It'll be roughly in the same area, but not totally in the same area. Okay, so we need a couple of vector2s, right? We need vector2 skull target position, and then we need private vector2 skull look at position. Okay. Vector2 target position, skull target position is equal to target position. Look at position, vector2. Skull look at position is equal to look at position. Flip text orientation. Do I even need this anymore either? I don't think so, actually. Let's just go with simplicity. Yeah, let's just get rid of all this stuff. We're just gonna go real simple. We're just gonna remove as much complexity from this as possible because it makes it hard to reason about. And I'll just go and add things back in when I need to. Okay. So now we could do global position is equal to global position.lerp. We are going to take the, we're going to go to the skull target position. Okay. We don't care about setting the text position every time. So actually in here, yeah, that works. So set text target position. Good. All right. So we have massively stripped this down. That's going to break the tutorial guide in here quite a bit, but let's just do play out here. We'll just replace all these things. So this would be set skull target position. Player, get rid of all this stuff. That's unfortunate. Remove unnecessary cast. Move unnecessary cast. Okay, this would be global position. Yeah, we don't care about this offset anymore. So actually this would be plus that. So anytime I have an offset, I just want to... Actually, this would be player... I have to convert this to screen position. Get screen transform.origin. Okay. Set look at position, player.get screen transform.origin. Okay. Now for the text, we'll have to reevaluate all these different text pieces, but actually what I could do in here is I could probably just merge this. We'll just merge that under there, and then I don't need this one. Okay, set text. What do I want the position to be? Let's just do player.getScreenTransform.origin plus vector2.right times 64. Okay, and then we do play in. And now we have to update all of these ones here. All right, set skull target position, map node dot get screen transform dot origin plus that. Set look at position, get screen transform dot origin plus offset. Set text. We'll move this up here. Map node get screen transform dot origin dot right. Maybe I'll do, I could pull this out maybe into a default padding. We can pull this out as well. Origin. And actually, we'll pull that up there because then I can do this as well. Okay. Yeah, let's do private static read only vector2 default left padding is equal to vector2.left 64. Private static read only vector2 default right padding vector2.right times 64. All right. Default right padding, default right padding, play in here. Okay, on to the next one. Set target position, set skull target position, get screen transform dot origin. Dot origin, please, thank you. Set skull look at position. I'm not gonna pull this into a, actually maybe I should, get screen transform. So all these positions are probably going to be wrong now, but that's okay. Oh, we gotta do this 40 billion more times. Is this one on Godot? Yes. Is JSON the best way for dialogue system? I do not know. I don't have any experience with dialogue systems. I gotta update all of these. Oh, goodness. Half size dot x times 2, 0 plus default right padding. Okay, let's do this. I don't want to do this manually anymore. Hey, Claude. I need to update all of the set anchor, set look at anchor, and set text. Tutorial guide. Follow the pattern I already established. Do your best to judge which paddings should be used for positioning. Make no mistakes. Okay. I don't feel like doing that myself anymore. JSON for dialogue is the way to go, or so I hear. Hello, S. Bowen, welcome back. I think you use CSV for dialogue so you can localize more easily. Well, it depends on what do you mean by dialogue, right? Like, I think the question is implying a dialogue system which creates relationships between all the strings, but there would have to be a translation layer on top of that, right? So like the dialogue system would ideally just contain whatever data structure you need to establish relationships between things, but it would be pointing to like certain IDs. So it wouldn't contain the actual text in the dialogue system. At least this is the way that I would approach it. Again, I don't have any experience doing a dialogue system, but I would set up the structure with JSON, but the structure would only reference the IDs of the text that needs to be displayed. And that ID could literally just be like the translation ID, so that you can go, for example, to the get text file, or the PO file. You could just like look up that string with that ID and it would be automatically translated for you when you display it, right? Or you could create your own ID system where you know, maybe all of your dialogue is contained within custom resources or something, and then the ID points to a resource. Something like that. I don't know if I would put the actual dialogue text itself in the JSON structure. I would use the JSON structure to determine the conditionality about when certain dialogue should appear and what dialogue options there are, etc. And then that data structure would be used to fetch the actual text for that dialogue moment from another system. That's the way that I would do it if I were to approach making a dialogue system. Again, I have no experience, so I have no idea what pitfalls are there or if that would even work. But typically, I think just based on my experience and my intuition, I think that would be the way to go. Make no mistakes, yeah. Thank you for the subscription. I'm Laxon, appreciate that. 6-month streak, dang. Thank you very much. Thank you. We moved on already, though. We're building our own harnesses now. I think Godot uses CSV when I'm unsure. Claude is a token hog. It's all bloated. That's okay. I don't use it enough to worry about the token usage. Should I go to engineering uni this year to take a year off and do Roblox, Devin, and go to uni after? It depends on how much money you're going to have to pay for uni. The fact that you're saying uni implies to me that you're probably in a country where you don't have to pay much. I would say if college is going to be very low cost or no cost, then you might as well, because you can always do your Roblox development in between your classes or on the weekends or whatever, right? If you were in the United States and you said, hey, my tuition bill is going to be $25,000 a year, should I go to engineering school? I'd be like, no, don't do that. But it all depends. Like if it's free or nearly free, then you might as well, right? In this case, dialogue speaking specifically about conversations in the game. I'm just not sure if a dialogue is a dual use term in casual and coding game dev. No, I know what you mean. Like there is a word that sounds exactly the same that's called dialogue, but it's spelled differently. Dialogue, in the sense that you're using it, is the actual text that's displayed when a character is talking, right? So if we're talking about a dialogue system that is trying to determine when certain pieces of text from characters speaking should be shown, and whether JSON is the proper thing to do for that. I don't know. Why is this taking so long? Like, it's a pretty simple change. Oh my gosh, whatever. Let's start building out this thing while that's taking forever. It would have been faster for me to just continue doing it manually, I guess. Anyway. So, let's see. Guide, arm, ups, guide head, guide lantern. Okay. Oops, I don't want to move the visuals. I want to move these things. Okay. So guide head, guide arm, guide lantern. So now I need to offset. We'll put the offset here. Okay. So we'll put the lantern underneath the arm. Move this out of the way. Now I gotta look at my... Oh, that's probably right. Let's see. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, then we gotta do our own offset for this one. This may end up becoming multiple... Dang it. This may end up becoming multiple sprites here, but that's okay. And then the head, turn off this offset. So yeah, probably this will become multiple sprites, but I just want to see what this looks like here. Okay, it did it. It did the change. Good. Thank you. Okay. Alrighty, so I guess we'll just see how much we broke, and we'll just go from there. We'll just see how much we broke and go from there. We broke quite a lot, I suppose. Probably I'm turning the visuals as invisible, or I'm turning the whole thing as visible false. Okay. So play in, let's just do visible true. Play out. I mean, whatever. This is going to have to be cleaned up quite massively, but free education is the way to go 100% of the time. Dialogue equals pop-up window, dialogue equals conversation, yeah. Not sure if you'll do this, but will modding support also be a possible feature after the game finishes? Oh, there we go. Will modding support be... Well, I mean, it's a Godot C# project, and we all know how easy it is to decompile Godot games, so... there will be no official modding support, but it's quite possible that modding the game will be relatively easy. That is a problem that if my game is so successful that people are clamoring for official modding tools, that will be a good problem to have. I don't even know how I'd approach a modding system. Like, I have no idea how that would work. Because like all of the abilities are compiled C# scripts, right? So you'd somehow need to be able to define I don't know. Like, I'd either have to expose some kind of scripting language that could just be a text file that allows people to define new abilities, or I would have to publish maybe like certain aspects of the code base as a library, so you could pull in like all these classes on your own, but then you'd have to like compile that and like distribute a DLL maybe. I have no idea how that would work. I actually have zero clue how I'd add modding support to this. Anyway, why is this not working? Oh, set process, false. Do I need to do set process true in here? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even worried about the assets. Like, I'm sure it's pretty easy to just add new assets to the PCK and whatnot. What I'm confused about is like, if you wanted to add functionality to the game, which you'd have to do, how would you do that? If all the functionality is defined in compiled C#, how would you mod the game to like recompile the code? I'm assuming it would just be a matter of like basically rebuilding the project and then like replacing the DLL or something like that. But like I said, I have no idea. Okay, that looks interesting. Obviously, we're gonna have to flip him around and everything, but we add some motion to this guy. We flip him properly. So let's try the flipping first. So skull look at position is less than global position dot x dot look at position dot x less than visuals. Visuals dot scale is equal to new vector. Let's just do vector 2. Now let's just do new vector 2. Hello, Rookie Tookie, welcome. Good to see you. Amungos, hello. Okay, this could work. This could work. This is gonna be, oh man. Okay, so let's just do this. Initial reworking of skull. Let's do default right padding times 3. let's just get rid of introduction movement. Let's just get rid of all this stuff for now. One thing at a time here. So I think the next thing to do is just to focus, because I know that this is going to look pretty good when I add like physics to the lantern and particles and stuff. So I don't want to spend time on that right now. Why is that not working? Did I change the wrong thing? I want to spend time on like making it look good right now. What I want to do is I want to see if my ideas are going to work. That's the primary thing that I'm focused on right now. Because then I can go in and add the animations and stuff, and that should be relatively straightforward. What are we working on today? Updating the tutorial. So this is going to have to go down probably here or something, or the text will have to move down. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth... I don't know if it's worth playing around with the positionings right now. Because what I really want to do is I want to be able to draw. So the way that this tutorial thing is working is it's very simple, right? It's a sub viewport that's rendering a black texture, and then I draw a circle around the position of whatever I want to highlight. And then I feed that into a mask texture, I dim everything that's black, and I don't do anything to any pixels that are within the white, right? So that's how I get like this spotlight effect. But what I want to do is I want to create like a little spotlight going from the lantern to the edges of the circle. And so this guy will be moving around. So as he moves around, that spotlight will be like moving. But let me think about this. Set text origin half size dot y times, oops, let's just do half size dot y times 3, whatever, doesn't matter. Yep, working on a tutorial. Yeah, probably my least favorite thing to do in this whole game, but the new player experience is really important. So okay, so imagine this guy floating around a little bit, right? He's animated, the lantern is swinging. So now I just need to somehow allow like a cone to be drawn. Let me see if that is possible. So if we go to tutorial highlight, am I in the right spot? I am. Okay, so color rect dot draw. So we can draw an arc. We should be able to draw like a triangle or a polyline. Probably want to draw a polyline. So what we probably want to do is we'll have to define okay, so if this is the lantern here, and then we have our spotlight area here, what I'm gonna need to do is basically take a line going from here to the center of the circle, right? And then take the perpendicular of that line, which is gonna be, so we'll take the perpendicular, that will be a unit vector, we'll multiply it by the radius. Then we'll basically just take the inverse of that and go the other way, right? And then what I can do is I can just draw a triangle from that, right? So I just do this. Now that's actually, oh no, that'll work. Yeah, no, that won't work. No, that won't work because it's gonna cut through is it gonna cut through the circle, or did I just draw it wrong? I don't think it should cut through the circle actually. Oh, maybe it will. No, it will. So this is actually a harder math problem, right? let's see. Get out of here. So maybe this is actually harder than I thought. I could just be drawing it wrong though. So let's just do an example here. So we go really close. We draw a line from the center to there. If I do the perpendiculars, and if I just draw a line to the perpendiculars, yeah, that's just going to cut through the circle. So that's not going to create the effect that I want. Because what I want is I want a line that does this, right? That touches the edge of the circle. So it looks like a continuous spotlight kind of thing. So what I really need to do is I need to construct a line that looks like that. Oh, that's a tricky one. That's the program I used to make pixel art in. Well, let me think about this. Should make right angles to the radius of the center point of the circle where it meets the edge of the circle. It should make right angles to the radius of the center point of the circle where it meets the edge of the circle. Oh, here? Oh, I see. This line would be a right angle. Right. And this one would be a right angle. So it's like a box, basically. The question, though, is like, how do I determine that this point is there? Oh, I guess... my geometry skills are not that good. I guess what I would need to do is get the point where it intersects, which is pretty easy to deduce because it's just a circle, right? Get the point where it intersects. No, is that what I want to do? Well, where was I going with that? I was thinking if I could take the point where it intersects and then like just take the vector, that would create a right angle to the surface. There has to be a way to do that. My math skills are just not great. Like if I have a point on the edge of a circle, I should be able to determine basically from that and the circle radius, like which vector is going to end up being perpendicular from. Or wait, can I get, wait, maybe I could do the tangent? Is there a way to get, oh wait, can I do it? Maybe I can just do a tangent, right? Is there a way to get the tangent? Like if I have this point, yeah, maybe I just need the tangent. Maybe that's all I need. Is there a way to get a tangent and how do I do this? Vector 2, tangent. How do I do it? I'm just going to look this up. Get line that is tangent to circle from point outside circle. All right, let's see what the almighty Google AI says. There are exactly two valid tangent lines, whether using geometry. Yeah, I know that. Connect and draw a line segment between the circle center and the external point. Find the midpoint of this segment. I want the midpoint of this segment? No, I want to, no. Well, let's just see. I don't need to do all this. Godot. So external point to circle center, distance less than radius. Yeah, we know that. Base angle, 2 point, dot angle, tangent angle offset, a cosine radius divided by distance. Calculate the interior angle between the center to point line and the center to tangent line. Tangent 1, circle center plus vector 2 from angle, base angle. Is there no way to get a tangent like from Godot? Probably not in geometry 2D, right? Because it's not, the circle is not geometry. Okay, let's do this. Tangent. Curve. Oh, I was expecting maybe there would be something in the vector 2 class that could help me, but maybe not. I mean, we could just follow what Google said. Well, guess we're gonna have to figure that out. Me also in my YouTube profile pic with it. Don't geometry before 10 a.m. Also bad at math. Distance away times degrees around. Do the perpendicular, then move it 45 degrees towards the origin point of the light. Do the perpendicular, then move it 45 degrees. Probably some trig stuff. Yeah, I think I could just do the tangent stuff. What happened to your right hand? Is it okay? Yeah, it's okay. It's just preemptive protection. Dot product. Caption says tutorial Firebelly's doing vector math and trigonometry. Yeah. Could this big guy be the skeleton of Joffrey the Great? Great art, by the way. Thank you, Jack. Maybe. Some method in geometry 2D. That's what I thought too, but I think that class is mostly centered around dealing with arrays of points. It's not centered around dealing with like a pure mathematical representation of like a circle, you know? But we could probably figure it out. So I'm going to just draw the lines to make it easy. Oh, I don't have... Okay, I need to establish a relationship between these things. All right, so... Hold on a second. Let me think about this. The other problem is I could have multiple highlighted sections. So I don't need to be super fancy just yet, I don't think. I was thinking maybe I'll create a new object, a new record that I can create, and that will have some getters that basically return the positions of everything, but I don't think that's necessary, at least right now, because we're just trying to get this to work. So let's just do export private node 2D skull. Okay, so for each circle that we're drawing, we have the target screen center position. Okay, so now we can do, let's do our follow along with Google. I'm just going to put this on the other screen for now. All right, so we need to get the 2 point. So the external point to the circle center. So the external point would be skull.global position minus target.screen center position. So this would be var 2 point. I don't know if I like that name, but whatever. And then the distance 2 point dot length if distance is less than or equal to, or less than or equal to target.radius, then we will just continue. Okay, var angle is equal to 2point.angle. Tangent angle offset is equal to mathf.arc cosine radius divided by distance. Man, I don't even know what's going on here. Tangent 1, and so basically this is just creating two vectors from it's just creating two vectors based on this angle offset. So this is getting the angle. So yeah, I guess it's just a trig problem, right? Angle equals 2point.angle. So wait a minute. This is just essentially getting the angle of what it would take to create a perpendicular vector, right? Like, would it be easier for me to do orthogonal here? No, I guess it's not exactly 90 degrees, so maybe that's not right. Okay, I'll just stick with this. I'll just stick with that. Okay, var tangent 1 is equal to, so this would basically just be vector 2 dot right dot rotated. Target dot radius. Tangent 2 minus. All right, anyway. Draw a line. Vector 2 from. Global position 2. Tangent 1. Colors dot green. Okay. Actually, this should probably be color. I'm not going to be able to see this actually because this is going to go in. This is going to be processed by the shader. So I probably actually, this is going to actually be really hard to see because this is going to be happening. This draw is basically drawing to the mask. I mean, I could make a shader change just to see it, but that's kind of a little bit. Why are you opening things? Stop. So I go to the tutorial highlight. Let's just do this. We'll go to the spotlight. Oh, we already have the viewport color. Okay. Let's just do this. If viewport color dot, I want to do distance. Viewport color to vec4 0, 0, 1.0, 0.0, 1.0 is less than or equal to 0.002. Color equals this. Does it not like that? Oh. Forgot a parentheses. Okay. We'll just keep it green. Hopefully it keeps it green. All right, I don't know. Let's see if it works. Oh, it's not going to work because I need to assign that export property. It has the tan function, but operates on radians, not vectors. Are you trying to make the spotlight shape based on the point of the lamp? Yeah. Almost as if you would need specific highlighted sections. No, it's going to be algorithmic. Specs of my PC. I have 64 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. I've got an RTX 5080. I have an Intel Core Ultra 285K. And then 4 terabytes of NVMe storage. Is there anything else that I missed? I feel like I missed a component. I mean, no one cares about the power supply. I think that's it. Look like a math professor. I don't feel like a math professor, let me tell you what. What is the reason for all this trigonometry? Trying to do the spotlight. It's not freaking working. So now we have the joy of trying to figure out if it's an issue of the line that's being drawn or, oh, I still forget. Okay, hold on. My bad. I still need to assign the skull. Okay. Yeah, we're trying to make a spotlight effect from the lantern. Yeah. Come for the tutorial, stay for the shader math. I have to say, ever since I started forcing myself to do shaders, I've been learning a lot. Drawing is only allowed inside this node's draw functions connected to its draw signal or when it receives notification draw. Oh. I had to draw. So the weird thing is, like, with the custom drawing in Godot, you can connect to the draw signal of like a child item, for example, and then in your own, in the on draw or whatever signal handler, you can like just draw onto the child, but you need to reference the child, obviously, because otherwise you're going to try to draw to yourself, and that's not good. Nice build, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I have no complaints. A lot of people were like, don't get the Intel Core Ultra 285K, and it's like, oh wow, it works, look at that. Obviously it's not pointing at the lantern, but it's going to be trivially easy to make the source point the lantern. What I was mostly interested in is making this spotlight effect work. So that's working. Very cool. Very cool. Now, I want to see if do I understand how this is working? No, I definitely don't. 2-point dot angle. Target dot radius divided by distance. Turns the arc cosine. Used to get the angle of cosine S. Oh, so this is the length of the side, right? So target dot radius divided by distance. Why does that make sense? Well, I have no idea. It works, that's the most important part. So it's not actually correct yet though, because what I need to do is I need to make this a triangle and not two lines. Draw colored polygon. The points in the array are defined in local space. So I want to draw a polygon. So vector 2 points. Let's do vector 2 points equals new vector 2 3. Points 0 is equal to skull.global position. Points 1 is equal to tangent 1. And then points 2 is equal to tangent 2. Draw colored polygon. This is going to be points colors.green. I don't care about the UVs or the texture. Lines are drawing, but it's not a filled shape, right? All right, good night among us. Thanks for joining. What are we doing? Welcome, Zizou. We are doing tutorial work. So trying to make the tutorial look nicer and feel nicer. Okay, there we go. We have our filled shape. Now, the tricky thing here, well, let's just change this to colors.white, and then we can see what that looks like. Okay. So yeah, if we make this come from the lantern, that would be pretty cool, I think. What does it look like? Let me turn off, let's see, project debug. Let's turn off generate test map. Let's also put these states back. I want to see what it looks like with the multiple items, because that's probably going to look a little bit weird, but I mean, you can't even really tell. So there's probably some tutorial gaps in here. I probably want to do a tutorial call out for like boosters and stuff, but we'll see. And the position of this guy needs to change as well. The position of that needs to change. So there's a lot of work to do, but that's all right. Let's just go through. Oh, the problem though is that it's not accounting for, right. So I need to make this target.radius times target.progress. This is radius. 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 Okay, anyway. So it's looking a little bit weird now, but we have to mess with these positions and everything, of course. Can't really tell in most cases that that is actually a spotlight, but that's all right. Mostly, I think, because his position is not correct. I wonder if it would almost be better to not explicitly set his position and just have him wander around the screen. Wander around the screen, but avoid wherever the text is. That should be a pretty simple like avoidance, like steering behavior. So if I have him just like wandering the screen, but then he also has like an avoidance force to like basically avoid this rect here, then he could like fly around this way, go up here around, you know, under. Maybe he goes back around, he floats out here, and then that spotlight can be really like exaggerated at certain points, right? But it would also look a little bit more natural, and it would probably make my life easier because then I don't have to worry about the position of the skull guy. All I need to do is make sure the text is in a good position, and then he can just do whatever he's going to do, right? So that'll probably work. Okay. So I'm glad that that's working. The thing that I don't want to do, though, is I don't want to reference the skull directly here. That was just for testing. So what I probably do want to do is I probably want to add... Probably want to just register some kind of function. Some kind of function that I can invoke that will return the lantern's current position, and then I can use that for the spotlight. So we'll have to do that, but wouldn't hurt to try. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we will continue on. But anyway, I'll be right back in just 3 minutes, and we'll continue work on this. Okay, it's me. I'm here. It is me. I am here. Your favorite niche e-celeb is back again. Give me 1 second here, sorry. All right. So how do I want to actually register the lantern position here? Let me think about this. So we've got the skull. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to add a marker 2D. We're just going to put that smack dab in the middle of the lantern as a child so that as the lantern rotates, it follows that, right? Oops. So we've got our marker 2D. So this is our lantern light source position, something like that. Okay, we'll mark that as a unique name. Let's grab that. Okay. Then we'll just do public vector2 light global position is equal to lights or returns light source position.global position. Okay, so we've got that. Then what we'll do is we will do in the tutorial highlight, let's do private func register func. What am I doing? Vector2. Well, maybe. Yeah, it's fine, whatever. Get light source position, okay. This is a little bit weird, but we're just gonna make it work. Okay, this dot get light source position equals get light source position. Okay, so now down here, okay. Get light source position dot invoke. If light source position is equal to null, we're gonna continue. And actually, we can do this up here because we only need to get it once. We don't need to get it every time in the loop. Okay, so this would be light source position dot value. Okay. So now in the tutorial guide, what we will do is we have the skull in the tutorial highlight. So what we'll do, I don't know, we'll just throw it in here somewhere, it doesn't matter. Tutorial highlight.register light source position. We're gonna do skull.light source, light global position. So maybe that's a little bit of a roundabout way. Maybe it would have been better to just keep the skull reference to the tutorial highlight. Actually, should I do that? Actually, maybe I'll do that instead. Oh, but I need to, this needs to be skull. Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. That's probably better. So it's the same logic, we just flip that around and now I don't need this. Okay. I was thinking that it was going to be a lot trickier to get that data, but because these are part of the same scene, it should be relatively easy actually to just do that. Time to watch my fave niche e-celeb. Hello, Spunky, welcome. Your favorite niche e-celeb is pretty terrible at math, sorry to say. Sorry to say. Okay. let's see what happens. Are you full-time or have a job? I'm full-time on Alchemortis right now. I don't want to give you the wrong impression, though. I am definitely not profitable. But that's why we're building Alchemortis. We're going to see how this game does, and then depending on how that goes... You know, I keep saying depending on how that goes, I may need to get a new job, but I have options. I have a nuclear option that will allow me to potentially continue doing game development for a little bit, but let's not think about that right now. But yeah, I'm not currently making money doing this. Oh wow, why is that so slow? Hold on a second. I messed something up in here. Oh. Oh. I need to create a new reveal tween for each one instead of appending to the existing one. Gotcha. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Any plans on launching more Udemy courses? Not at the moment, no. Not at the moment, unfortunately. What is your career? I was a software engineer, but now I'm doing this full-time, like I said. But yeah, I was a software engineer working on startups, full stack engineer, all that good stuff. All that good stuff, you know? Okay, so obviously there's a lot of work to do here, but thank you, Dino Chris, for the raid. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Followers only greetings. Oh, do I have followers only on Twitch? Is that a default setting? Should I disable that? I honestly don't know my way around Twitch at all. Do I want to disable that? Is it worth doing that right now? Hello, Ninja Link. Welcome, welcome. Let me check. I want to check and see if I can turn. I don't think I need followers only mode off. That might be hurting the engagement a little bit. Let's see. I don't know how to do this. Oh man. I feel like every day I get older, I feel more and more like a boomer. Like I don't even know. I don't even know where to find the setting I'm looking for. Oh, gosh. Chat. I understand my dad more and more every day when it comes to this technology. Chat rules? What in the heck? I have no idea where to even see this. I might have to figure this out later. What the heck? Don't know, just wondered seeing familiar avatar icon on Twitch and not YouTube. Oh, gotcha. Oh, here we go. I found it. Followers only chat disabled. There we go. Okay. Please explain when is best use tweens with time, like tween method for move and node, and not use simple process timer. The benefit of a tween is that it will be destroyed when the node that it's bound to is freed. Also, you can kill a tween midway through, right? That may be a lot harder to orchestrate yourself if you're just trying to coordinate like timers and stuff. Tween method is also useful when you need to have control over like the start and end points, right? So the benefit of a tween, especially when using tween method, is like you have a start point for whatever you're trying to tween, and you have an end point for whatever you're trying to tween. And those things need to remain fixed. And the only thing that you're interested in is the interpolation between those two states, right? If you don't use a tween method for that, you'll need to track your own like beginning and ending state and then apply the tween there. That's of course still possible, but I find that, you know, when the game state is changing, when positions are changing, when things are constantly being updated on screen, becomes a little bit unwieldy to try to like track your own state snapshots. So being able to bake that into a tween and say, I want you to start from here and go to here, and then you just fire off the tween and it handles that for you, is very nice, right? So yeah, I mean, but it's like anything in game dev, you know, there's a million and one ways to do things. I tend to think, I even use tweens for timers sometimes because like, trying to create a scene timer and then await the signal, that can be problematic too, because like what will happen is if you free the scene that's awaiting the scene tree timer, it could throw an error saying like, oh, the object that was supposed to handle this timeout signal is disposed now. I don't know if that's so much of an issue now, but I remember that being a problem. But with a tween, like I'll just use tweens as timers sometimes. I'll just create a tween, set it to tween interval, and then after the interval, I'll just define an action that gets called after the tween is over. And I have the peace of mind, which means that, yeah, if the node gets freed while that timer is running, the tween will be killed and nothing will happen, right? So it's like, I don't know. I just find tweens to be a lot nicer to work with because they're almost like nodes in the sense that they belonged to whatever they're bound to. And so when that thing that they're bound to gets removed or destroyed or queue freed or whatever, the tween will also be destroyed. So you don't need to worry about like having some like state still hanging around or some awaits still hanging around that are gonna try to handle code in a script that is no longer instantiated, so on and so forth. Welcome to the club. Hello, Fly the Sky. Hello, Real Cruda. Boomer moment crash out. Might be able to type followers off. Could be making that up though. Might actually be in the chat. Yeah, I found it. It's in my little chat settings thing in OBS. Want to join Nice Unique Game Jam or help with it? Shameless promo, sorry. At a different point in time, I would love to, but the unfortunate thing is I have a very short amount of time to get Alchemortis finished, so basically 100% of my effort needs to go to making this game. Because it's releasing later this year, and I still have a pile of things to do. So I'm not even going to participate. I decided that I'm not going to participate in the GMTK jam this year, even though I love participating in that jam. It's just I need every weekend I can get to work on this game. So yeah. If you do another one at some point in the future, next year or something, you could definitely hit me up. I'll probably have a lot more time then, but yeah. Are there any plugins you recommend for a new dev, or should I just use vanilla? I think vanilla is fine. I've never found a plugin that I absolutely have to have. I'm doing well, Cruda. How are you doing? It's a great explanation. You should be a teacher. I kind of am. A little bit. All right, let's do some fun stuff now. I'm tired of working on code. Let's get this guy animated. Do I want to keep everything? Oh, I need to get rid of this. Right. This is no longer relevant, so let's just get rid of that. Okay. That's why it's a good idea to always review your changes before you commit them, because you never know when you left something in there that shouldn't be in there. All right, so I'm gonna need to rework some of this stuff now because I think I want these arm pieces to be separate. So let's just grab this. We'll cut that out. We'll create this guide arm upper. Okay, and then this, we'll just go ahead and for this one, let's just do this. We'll give it a little bit of extra padding there, so as it rotates, it'll be okay. Okay, so this would be guide arm lower. Okay, and we got the lantern and the head. Do I want to make the jaw? I probably want to separate the jaw, right? So let's grab this. Guide jaw. This is probably... So that's going to want to go behind... Yeah, so let's do this. We will re-outline this. But what's going to happen is this is going to go behind the head. I think the jaw... No, that's fine. Okay. Now, the unfortunate thing is... I'm going to need to fill in some of this. Oh, I did the wrong spot. Honestly, maybe I'll just get rid of that. So now hopefully what we can do is like rotate it a little bit, probably not that much, but just like very slightly. Yeah. Okay. So we've got all of our pieces. So now we can actually work on animating this. Okay. I'm gonna have to reorganize everything in the scene. Leg pain is so bad today. I'm sorry. Is your IDE VS Code? It is, yes. I'm doing it 4 times a year, so 100%. This jam is about writing, sharing your code, and judging other people's code for the exact given game. Just searching a way of promoting the jam or an idea, and it's very nice to see you here. Did not know that you stream. Oh, yeah. Well, you are welcome to join the Firebelly Discord and post about the jam that you're hosting in there. There might be a couple of people in the Firebelly Games server that would be interested in participating, and yeah, I would love to participate in some fashion in the future. So let's definitely stay in touch. My man got big. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you, Dino Chris. Appreciate it. Has he always been this big? No, he got swole. For real, no cap. Okay, so let's go back in. And now we got to do a bunch of stuff. Guide jaw. I mean, before I go too deep on this, like, do you guys like this new character? Like, do you see the vision, or am I just, like, wasting my time? I have the bone specialist on the 13th and orthopedics on the 27th, so hoping they can actually tell me what the issue is. That would be great, yeah. I hope it goes well. More skeletons equals better. That is true. Wasn't there a tutorial guide already? There was, yeah, but I wanted to make... So the problem with the new tutorial presentation that I have is that it creates a lot of dark void space. So I wanted to try to fill up that space a little bit better, which is why I drew this new bigger guy. Also, I think he just looks cooler. The other guy was goofy and cute, but this guy is pretty cool. I like how it looks. I can see the vision. Another new character. How many are you aiming for? No, this is not. This is not a playable character. This is a tutorial guy. Although he would be a good character. He's too big to be a character, though. That's the problem. Although, what I could do is I could draw a small version of him, and that could be like the final character you unlock is like this tutorial guide. It could just be called Guide or something, right? Or Spirit Guide or something. So like your first introduction to this guy is just as like describing the tutorial, but then you play the game a bunch and you unlock him as a playable character. That's actually a really cool idea. Unfortunately, I think I'm done with characters for now until release. So there are 6 characters in the game. I think that's a fine number for release version. Of course, I can always patch in more characters later, but trying to get to the point where I'm content frozen, where there's going to be no more content added. So, yeah. Skeletons are good monsters for making jokes and funny moments. For some reason I feel like he needs a rotating gear at his shoulder. That's interesting. He should have eyes that flash whenever he's emphasizing something that text is appearing. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, we'll see. We will see how far we want to take this. Okay, so this guide arm upper. Wait, did that just work? Upper. Oh, that's pretty cool, I suppose. All right, then we want to add another sprite 2D here. We want this to be visibility show behind parent. Okay. Just make sure all this stuff is good. Okay, and then the guide lantern, this should already be okay. This is gonna hopefully swing around pretty well. The guide lantern needs to be part of the arm though, so that as I rotate this, the lantern goes with it. Okay. Now, I still am not sure if I want, maybe the head position should be like in the middle there, something like that. Oh wait, no, we want to put this at 0, 0, and then we want to shift all of this down like that. Okay. Let's just go all in. Gonna go all in on rigid body 2D. Gonna do the same thing that I did with the, whatchamacallit. What is that guy called? Did I end up giving him a name? Oh yeah, Death Sworn Paladin, right. Okay. All right, so we need to add a collision shape 2D. Let's just make it, is it worth it to make it a capsule? Probably not, probably just do that. Okay, and we want a animatable body 2D here. That needs to go there. Collision shape 2D. Circle shape. I don't think this shape really matters that much for what I'm trying to do here. Okay, and then we want a pin joint 2D. Okay, pin joint 2D, we'll just put that there, and we'll say body A is animatable body, and this one is lantern body. Okay. All right, so let's just throw some animations in here. I'm trying to decide, do I want to try to animate this procedurally? Or do I want to just do like a looping animation? Let's just do a looping animation to start. So idle. I think I do want to have the arm moving around a little bit, but I think I can probably do that with code. So I might just like stack steering behaviors onto this, honestly. So the skull will be wandering around the screen, and then the arm here will be wandering around like this area here. And I think that could work really well. So what I just need to do is I just need to animate the arm then. So we create a new, not a new animation. We want to do, let's turn on record. Let's just do rotation. Let's insert a key there. Let's make it a little bit of a longer animation. 0.05. Blow this up. Okay. It's probably too aggressive of an animation, but that's okay. We're just trying to get something down onto the screen first, and then we will worry about that in a little bit. So we'll take this. There we go. That does not look quite right. Okay, like I said, we can work on this later, but let's just see. I want to see if the physics even works. Any day now. Oh, it's being set to visible. Or invisible, rather. I love the trope of weak thing from the very beginning turns into a cool endgame unlock. Yeah, that is a fun trope. That is not working even a little bit. Turn off sync to physics. That's probably the issue. Okay. So yeah, the arm animation can be improved, obviously, but we've got that going on. Now, what happens if I move him on this screen? Var tween equals create tween. Tween dot tween action. Skull target position is equal to I was thinking if there's a better way to do this, but that's okay. Time for physics. Hello, Ultra Needham. Welcome. Good to see you. Once you assume the role of a tutorial skeleton, you'll be cursed and compelled to do the tutorial for all new players until you find someone to replace you. Why do it in Godot instead of something like Sprite? I am not doing any frame-by-frame animations in this game. So all the sprites that you see in the game are all static sprites. They're all single frame. Oh, I'm realizing the lantern visuals are not flipping. Oh, that's going to be a problem. But the physics is working for the most part. Oh. What I probably want to do is to make this smoother, because it looks a little bit jittery. What I probably want to do is I want to put this in physics process. And then set physics process. I keep pressing the play button instead of the play scene button. The lantern is also not... Okay. Well, I'll have to fix that later. Okay. So I think this can be fixed. What happens if I turn the mass up? Does that do anything? Mass distribution, inertia. I have no idea what these values mean, so. I can also put like a max rotation on the pin joint, I think, but. Kind of funny when it does like a whole loop, but that's not what I want. I think the other thing to fix is the gravity scale. I think the gravity scale being up more may help. Oh, but it makes it way too fast. That's the problem. What happens if I just crank that soldier boy? Does that do anything? Turn the mass up. Oh, I probably want to do damping. Right. Okay, so maybe not inertia, maybe not mass. Let's do angular damping. 25. These are just magic numbers as far as I'm concerned. Oh, this needs to be replaced as well. Right, I remember this now. Okay, the damping is what I wanted. Maybe that damping is not high enough though. Let's turn it up a little bit more. So I don't think well, maybe that will actually happen, but that looks a lot more reasonable now to me. Yeah. It can still go pretty high. I can still do loops, but maybe that's okay. I don't know. Come on, stay on the screen, bro. Where are you going? So there's a bunch of problems here. This art is not being flipped when he's flipped. Actually, that's a good point. I should check that. We're going to set the look at position the same as skull target position. It's kind of a different flavor of animation that's actually animating an A-sprite. Yeah. It would be harder in A-sprite. Yes. Yes, it would. Thank you for the Prime subscription, Ninja Link. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. Kind of new here. What's the game about, by the way? There's a Steam page linked below, but it's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can use alchemy to create your own items, your own builds and synergies. So yeah. So this is the same problem that I was running into with the the paladin, is that flipping it kind of causes the physics to go all janky, but what I may have to do, and this may actually be better, is I may have to do remote transform 2D. When you've been creating your big map generation, have you been using AI for algorithms, or you learned and embedded them into the project by yourself? I learned the algorithms myself. So, I mean, it depends on what you mean by learn. Like Delaunay triangulation, Poisson disk sampling, like those things, I don't understand the internals of the Delaunay triangulation. I just know that it's useful, and there's a Godot built-in way to do Delaunay triangulation, which I'm using. And then the Poisson disk sampling, that's relatively easy to understand as well. It's just basically placing random points within a box such that they are all a minimum distance away from each other. So that's pretty easy to understand. And then like the wave function collapse, that is the rule system for placing nodes. I learned that as well. So yeah, I would say that I have enough understanding of all the algorithms I'm using to use them effectively, but I don't necessarily know like the underlying mechanics of how things like Delaunay triangulation work. You know what I mean? I don't know if this is going to work. This is probably not going to work. I think I tried this with the other guy. Yeah, see, it kind of like jumps around, which is weird. I almost wonder if on flip, like, would it be better to just force the lantern position to update? I need to grab the lantern. Oops. Let's see if this works. Lantern.global position is equal to hand transform.global position. So whenever it flips, we'll just force the position to update. I don't know if that's going to make the physics go all wonky. It probably will. Yeah. Well, maybe I just need to do it the other way too. Messing around with like the physics transforms is a little bit weird. Stop going off screen. I need to see what you're doing. Yeah, it's still weird. Is there a way to force like a body? I wonder if doing like integrate forces would work and just change the position of the object if a flip was detected. I really don't want to use another viewport for this, but I may have to do that. I may have to render this in a viewport again and then take the viewport texture and put it in. Oh, that's gonna be a pain in the rear. I mean, I don't even know. It's probably not even worth trying to mess around with all this stuff to get it to work. I might as well just do the viewport approach. So in order to avoid the complications that come from basically transporting the object when it flips, what I essentially have to do is do the physics simulation inside of a viewport and then take the viewport texture and just put it on a sprite instead. And so the physics simulation is happening entirely local to that viewport, so it's nice and consistent. And then I just take the texture and I flip it and do whatever I need to do with it. So that may be the way to do it. I don't really want to do that because that sucks. But I don't really know if there's a better way to do it. Any roguelike games you enjoy playing? I enjoyed Tiny Rogues a lot, but I haven't been playing many roguelikes recently. How to use plus on disk sampling for placing asteroid fields in a procedurally generated game I was working on. It was fun. Yeah. I'm also actually creating a dark fantasy game. Very cool. Can you put constraints on the lantern so it doesn't swing around? I don't think the constraints are going to fix it. The fundamental problem is Godot really doesn't like it when you transform a physics object. Like, basically, physics objects are not really supposed to be touched by you. Like, it's supposed to just be the physics simulation that's modifying their position and rotation and everything. And so if you try to just, like, force set that through code, that tends to just create bad results. So yeah. Is it hard to keep using the limited palette for your graphics? I'd like to see the different colors for biomes. That would be cool, but at the same time, You need to create and find new palettes. There are challenges with using a limited color palette for sure, but the challenge is the whole reason why I'm using it. So I'm not going to be adding more colors to the game. I may have like a palette swap that you can choose from the options, just in case, you know, if it's too dark or whatever, you can change the look of it, but there won't be more than 8 colors total. Sounds like you need a pin joint viewport component. Yeah, I wonder, would that even be possible? I mean, it would be possible. I just wonder how generalized I can make it. Where can I get the theme on your Godot? It's the default Godot 4 theme, 4.7 theme, but I just changed some colors, that's all. Let's see. I can maybe share the colors if I can find them. Yeah. Base color. Let's do this. Base color. And then accent color. I'll paste it in the chat for you. That's the only 2 things I've changed. Everything else is the same. Okay. Well, let's move this into a viewport then, I guess. But I'm going to take another quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we'll work on this in the viewport. But I think it's going to work. It just needs some tweaks. So anyway, I'll be right back in just 3 minutes, and we'll continue on. All right, I'm back. You're welcome, Tetrasloth. All right, I should probably stage these changes. All right, so we staged the changes. Let's just use a viewport. I'm going to try to do this from memory, but if we need to, we can look at the Paladin. Okay, add a viewport, sub viewport. Okay. This one, how big do we need to make this? Doesn't need to be that big. Let's do 128 by 128. Okay, so this would be the lantern. Let's just call it lantern viewport. Now the tricky thing is I'm going to want to put some particles in here. So do I want to do those particles in the viewport itself? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Transparent background. Snap 2D transforms to pixel. Or no. Yeah, Snap 2D transforms to pixel. Canvas items nearest. Okay. All right, I think we're good. So, I want this animatable body. So actually, we could put the animatable body into there now. Okay, so we put this in the lantern viewport. So this needs to go to 128 divided by 2, so it's 64. So we can see the viewport, there's our lantern there, right? This position is... Why is that wrong? Okay, it looks correct. Light source position. I don't think I want that in there anymore. So this light source position is 30 pixels. So we'll just put that here. 0, 30. Oops. So we're just gonna have to basically modify that. Okay, hand transform. This is actually, we're gonna change this to marker 2D. Okay, so we've got the hand position. We've got the light source position. All right. Actually, this is gonna suck. Wait a minute. I don't think this light position is gonna work. Because it needs to be coming from the lantern, which is gonna be swinging. And this is not gonna match that position. Actually, wait. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. Let's just go ahead and do this now. So the animatable body 2D, so this is gonna be the lantern animatable body. So essentially what we wanna do here, why is that position wrong again? What is happening? Okay. So this is zeroed out. So that means that its default position is 0, 0. And what we do is we essentially say, we want to add a new sprite 2D. Oh, there's a deer outside. Very cool. Viewport texture. Okay, so there's our lantern, sprite 2D. The lantern position is right at the center, right? So then we move this onto the hand like so. And so what we'll do is we'll say the lantern, we got our lantern texture, right? So lantern sprite. So that's coming from the viewport. But what we need to do is we need to basically set the lantern sprite. We're probably going to want to create a root for this. So let's do node 2D lantern sprite root. Okay. We'll take the lantern sprite there. So what we need to do is we need to take basically what is the difference between the hand position and the lantern sprite. Actually, no. We need to take... Yeah, we take the difference between the hand position and the lantern sprite root, and we move the animatable body to that position. So that means if the hand position goes over here, we move the animatable body position to over there as well. Is that right? Hand position. Yes, I believe that's correct. So we want to do a vector pointing from the lantern sprite root to the hand position. So hand position. Okay. I don't think I need this anymore. Oh gosh, this is a mess. Private, what did I call it? Lantern sprite. Oh no, we want to take the lantern sprite, right? Sprite 2D. Okay, so in here. Okay. Var lantern physics offset is equal to lantern sprite dot global position minus hand position dot global position. So we have a vector going from the lantern sprite to the hand position, and then we set the lantern animatable body. So we get a reference to lantern animatable body. We say lantern animatable body dot position is equal to lantern physics offset. Okay. I'm sure I did something wrong here. Light source position. Yeah. So I'm sure the light source is not going to be correct, but we will see. It doesn't look like it's working because I have an error. Lantern animatable body. Oh, I forgot to mark that as a scene unique name. I guess I did my math wrong. I did my math wrong. I keep pressing the wrong button. Every failed button press was 5 seconds of my life. That's going away. Feels bad. Okay, that is not quite working either. I'll have to go look at how I did it with the Paladin. But it also looks like maybe the physics isn't quite working. Probably because Let's turn down the damp. Do I have inertia? No. Remember to briefly acknowledge the world outside once every second or third hour. Yeah, game dev safely. What if instead of physics body you have a lantern trigger or lerp animation in the direction the skelly moves? I don't know if that would work. But I gotta figure out why the physics isn't working. Off to get a haircut. Have a great day. All right, thanks Ninjalink for joining. Thanks again for the subscription. I wonder why the physics isn't working now. Probably because the difference is too small. Let's turn the damp down. Am I actually moving the animatable body correctly? It is rotating a little bit, so I think the physics is working. I think the problem is that there's not really much velocity being transferred into the lantern anymore. So I could maybe fix that. Let me think about how I could fix that. What I essentially need to do this animatable body needs to move more in order to create more velocity. Because right now the movements are very subtle. One way potentially to fix this well, I don't know if that's going to work either. Well, what I can do is I can kind of fake it a little bit. If I grab the rigid body, rigidity body. If I grab the rigid body and then I detect when a flip is happening, I'm going to move this to a property. So let's do was flipped is equal to is flipped. And then we'll say if was flipped is not equal to is flipped. So if this value has changed, then what we can do is we can do lantern animatable body dot apply. No, lantern body dot apply central impulse. Vector 2 dot left times 100. So we just add an impulse whenever I detect a flip. We could also add an impulse on movement as well, but you can see that it's swinging a lot more now. Now this scale is wrong. So I probably actually need to move this. Okay, let's change this back to a remote transform 2D. So much work. Hand transform. Oops. Lantern sprite root. And we only want to update the position. We'll change that back to remote transform 2D. Okay, let's see if that works. Yeah, so the physics is working correctly. So now we just need to do this. Lantern sprite dot flip h is equal to is flipped. So now it's flipping the sprite as well. Okay, come on back. Come on back. So that's looking pretty good. So we're just adding an impulse on flip, and that's causing it to do the swinging. But what we can also do is we could put an impulse on a timer as well to just add a little bit of extra chaos into the system. So how do I want to do this? Private const float min impulse time is equal to 1.5. Const float max impulse time 4. Private void start impulse timer. Private float impulse timer. Impulse timer is equal to mathutil.rng.randf range. Min impulse time, max impulse time. Private void tick impulse timer. Impulse timer minus equals get physics process delta time. This needs to be a float. Okay, if impulse timer is less than or equal to 0, apply impulse, start impulse timer. Okay, so then in here we could do lantern animatable body dot apply, no, lantern body, apply central impulse, mathutil.rng.rand direction times mathutil.rng.randf range min impulse, max impulse. So we have to define those, but first let's do start impulse timer. In here, we are going to do tick impulse timer. Okay, and then we do private const float min impulse. What is the impulse that I'm putting on here? Okay, let's also define a private const float flip. We might as well make this min flip 75 private const float max flip impulse equals 125. So our min impulse that we want to apply randomly, we'll do private const float max impulse 50. Then in here, randef range min flip impulse max flip impulse. Okay. Let's take a gander. One skeleton tutorial guide with a side of extra chaos, yeah. Should I apply an impulse on start as well? It's too hard to see what he's doing when he's doing that stuff. Let's just remove this for now. Let's go to the lantern body. I'm going to put some damping back. I don't know if that actually makes a difference at runtime or not, so let's take a look. It doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot with this. I want to see what that value actually is here. I might just need to exaggerate the animation a little bit to get more rotation from the animation itself. Oh, it's 0. Oh, that would make sense. Why is it 0? Right, because the lantern sprite... Oh. Because it's 0 every time. Well, why did I need... Right, because I need the sprite to flip. So... Actually, maybe I should put this hand... Alright, we're gonna have to add another... Marker 2D physics offset root position. This is getting a little bit hairy here, but that's okay. This goes here. Okay. So this will be physics offset root position. Okay. I should get a non-zero value now. Now, wait a minute. Is this backwards again? What in the heck? Oh, I think I've just set this... Oh, wait a minute. The reason I'm using the remote transform 2D is so that when this guy flips, the sprite will also flip over. I think I have this backwards. I don't want this remote transform 2D needs to stay where it's at regardless of where the arm is. This physics offset root position though, that will move with the arm. So I can do the difference between that and the transform. Okay. So fudge. I'm going to get this eventually. This probably needs to be reversed again. All right. Did I get it right this time? Let's see. Nope. Okay, I didn't get it right. Flip it back again. I swear, every time, it's the simplest thing. Every time I think I've learned how to get a vector pointing from one to another, I confuse myself again and then forget what it needs to do. Okay. So now we've got some rotation happening from the animation itself. So now let's put his motion back and make sure I didn't break anything with respect to flipping around. I think I'm missing something. Why do you need a viewport in this case? Because when he flips... Oh, that's not correct. Oh, because this is not inside visuals, right? Because when he flips, I need the lantern to go over here. But if I just try to teleport the rigid body, it will break the physics. It will look really janky. It will like jitter all over the place. So what I do is I keep the physics simulation local to a viewport so that none of its scale or anything is changing. It's just being animated from the physics forces by just changing this lantern animatable body position. And then because I'm just getting the sprite, the viewport texture, I can basically move this sprite wherever I need to, and that won't interrupt the physics simulation at all, right? So it's basically just a way of isolating the physics simulation so that it can do everything that's going to do very naturally, and then I can take the sprite and flip it or scale it or do whatever I need to do with it without changing like where the physics bodies are in their simulation, if that makes sense. Now that offset is wrong. Do I want to modify the scale as well? I don't think so. It's not even close to correct. So now why is that happening? Do I just need to multiply this by the scale? And there he goes off the screen again. Okay, there we go. Did I finally get it? It's my favorite part of game dev, the absolute confusion. If game dev were easy, it would not be fun. Yeah, that's true. There are things that are hard that are annoying, like UI, and then there are things that are hard that are really interesting, like how do I puzzle piece together this series of nodes to get the effect that I want, right? Now I'm wondering if the impulse is wrong, though. No, maybe not. So obviously I can tweak some numbers around like the impulses and stuff. But I think for the most part that's looking pretty good. Maybe I'll turn the damping down a little bit, and then I might also just up this min flip impulse and max flip impulse. And what I might do as well is I might actually turn this down to be a lot shorter, but then turn these impulses down a little bit. Let's see what happens with that. That's smart. Looks really cool. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see. You know, I was questioning whether it was worthwhile to put this much effort into the tutorial guide, but I think it is, because this is going to be the first thing that players see. And I don't want them to get lost in the tutorial, right? So I think if I can not only make the tutorial a good experience, but also like give a lot of visual flair to the tutorial, I'm hoping that that keeps players engaged, right? Because like I think the danger of a tutorial is like if it's too long, or if it's not paced well, or if it's just boring, that players are not going to stick around to try the game or to continue playing the game. So I think it actually is really important to spend a lot of time getting the tutorial right. Because the thing about this game is it's hard to understand, so there needs to be player education. So players will bounce off the game if they don't know what the heck is going on. But if I also make the description and the explanation of what the heck is going on really boring, then that could also be a bad thing, right? So it's going to be, yeah, this is something that I'm going to need to invest a lot of time into. I don't want players to bounce because the tutorial is boring, and I don't want players to bounce because nothing in the game is explained, right? Okay, let's take a gander at what that looks like in the actual tutorial presentation. And we'll see what that's doing. Oh, look at that. The text is not appearing, but that's okay. I can fix that. Every time I say I can fix that, I just think of holes. Where the heck is the freaking... Oh, here. It'd be so funny if in easy mode the Skelly was holding jingling keys instead of a lantern. Yeah, well, there's no easy mode necessarily. The base difficulty of the game is designed such that once you know what you're doing, you should be able to beat it pretty easily. And then there are difficulty tiers after that to increase the difficulty. And I want to do like particle effects too, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I want the particle effects to be global such that when he's zooming around the screen, the particles trail behind the lantern. So that's going to be another thing that I have to figure out. But I also need to give him like just more animation generally and more motion as well. So I want him to probably run, like, not run, but like fly around the screen. Got to give the skull motion, probably tweak the arm animation here. I want to make the arm socket move around as well. Just generally make it look, you know, more appealing. Ooh, the spotlight effect is really cool. You can really tell that the spotlight effect is in play here. And so I need to figure that out too. Dang it. Because I need the light source to come from the lantern. Actually, maybe I don't want to do that. Because then it would be swinging around too much. Maybe the way I have it is okay. I also wonder if there's a way to like outline the spotlight in a way that's not like overbearing. If I did like an inner light green sort of thing. I don't know, I'll have to figure that out. Obviously he shouldn't be behind the text. So I think what I'm gonna do is, right now, one of the tricky parts of this system is I have to define where the skull guy goes as well as where the text goes. But I think what I want to do instead is only define where the text goes and then let him wander around in a way where he avoids going behind the text, right? So he wanders around here, he can come up over here, you know, but he will never go behind the text. That should be simple enough with, steering behaviors, I think. And then of course we need to make him like fade out and stuff. That's all right. Oh, the spotlight is so cool when he's moving and you can really see it. I like that. That's cool. Yeah, see the problem with the spotlight not following the lantern exactly is that you can kind of see the back end of it a little bit sometimes. Okay, it's getting there though. Yeah, sometimes I forget to toggle off the comments because I get distracted. Okay, anyway, that's going to be it for the stream for today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate the support. You can wishlist Alka Mortis on Steam. The link for that is in the description below. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can create your own builds and synergies using the alchemy system. So if that sounds interesting to you, please give it a wish list. You can also join the Discord, that's linked below as well. Maybe I'll do a bonus stream later, we'll see, but if I don't, I will be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, and I hope you all have a great day, and bye-bye for now.